What up, y'all? What up? What up? What up? Another edition of the Robin Lundberg Show here on the interwebs. Anyhow, lots to get to today, and I want to get to the comments and the fan interaction, of course, as well as always here. But can't start without the big news and the sad news from last night. I don't really have too much to say or add because there's nothing to say except for it sucks. I mean, who wants to see a star like JuJu Watkins go down? Anyone go down? I mean, anytime anybody is injured, it is a bummer. However, when you're talking about a star of the magnitude of JuJu Watkins, it's especially an extra bummer because it impacts the sport. And of course, regardless of the impact of anyone else, first thoughts are with JuJu. That's a really tough blow, an ascending star, a devastating injury. She'll get through it. She'll be fine. You know, ACL tears are not uncommon. They're not something that people don't come back 100% from. So I don't worry about JuJu's future or anything like that. But of course, for anyone to go through that, it sucks. And it shows you just how, things can change in an instant, right? And these are athletes and people at the same time. And when you're an athlete, you deal with possible injury. Your body is the commodity. And if your body is not healthy, then obviously that is problematic. And then you're a person too. And I think that gets lost in a lot of the coverage. And I try to never lose sight of that, is that you're talking about a person, regardless of when you're criticizing, praising, whatever, debating it may be, you're dealing with a person. And in JuJu Watkins' case, this is just a 19-year-old young woman, right, who had the world at her fingertips, billboards everywhere. I mean, look, it was just over the weekend. People were spreading the Jaden Daniels thing, JuJu sitting with Jaden Daniels, and that was all over the internet. And then a couple days later, she's out for a prolonged period of time after tearing her ACL. As far as, the injury itself, I can't go too far. I mean, I don't know. Like it happened. There was nothing to blame on the opposing team. That was just a regular basketball play. JuJu had been dealing with some injuries, had the ankle issue. Maybe there was some strain on her body and her body was compensating. I don't know. That's the theory behind load management and things like that, is that when you have a weakness in one part, another part of the body may compensate for it. So perhaps her body was just overwhelmed and that exacerbated the injury, or perhaps it could have happened if she was 100% fresh and coming back. It is not an uncommon injury, unfortunately. Just we're talking JuJu Paige Bueckers, right? Paige Bueckers has gone through it. AZ Fudd made her draft decision to not go to the WNBA draft and return to UConn. AZ Fudd has gone through it. JuJu will get through it, and this will be in the rear view at some point in the near future. But of course, it's a bummer for the NCAA tournament right now. It's a bummer for her. It's a bummer for USC fans, all those things. I don't know, what the average recovery time is, about 9 months. So I don't know how this impacts next season for her. She's not WNBA draft eligible until 2027. So she should have time to come back. And everyone had the same thought, right? Like so much of that garbage nonsense that you see spread. And I think, JuJu was kind of used to, in bad faith arguments at times, also in good faith, coverage too. It was both, but all of the nonsense goes away, and everyone should have the same shared opinion. When something like this happens, where it's a bummer. Basketball is better with JuJu Watkins as a part of it, and I think she'll get a lot of people rooting for her. She already had a lot of people rooting for her. It's not like people were rooting against her, but rallying around her is more like it, I suppose. Where in this case, she burst on the scene, most points ever for a freshman. Obviously, National Player of the Year favorite, media star, all those things. But this is, a reason for everybody to pull for her. And I think you'll see that. And of course, lots of folks have shared support. Caitlin Clark put this message up just recently, sending all thoughts and prayers to JuJu. Kid will come back stronger than ever. And that's the sentiment I think almost everybody shares. And everybody should share. And there's nothing else to say. There's nothing else to say, but it sucks. And my thoughts are with JuJu Watkins. Can't wait to see her back on the basketball court. Got a super chat from Kevin Zwicker. Never a right time to get injured, but an ACL tear isn't a death sentence like in the past. Get well, JuJu. Yeah, I mean, it's not even close. Even the Achilles. The Achilles is the worst one. Like, that's the one that scares me the most in my basketball forays to this day. And even that, you see people come back from nowadays. Modern medicine, these things are better and better all the time. So this is a bump in the road for JuJu Watkins. Certainly not something that is going to derail her long term. But I wanted to, of course, start and discuss that, as it took over everybody's thought process. And I knew it as soon as it happened, to be real with you. Like, I knew it as soon as it happened. I saw it and I knew it. I tried to, hope for the best or, maybe a hyperextension, something to that effect. But when I saw her go down, I saw her get carried off. I saw the replay. I knew it was ACL. Seen it too many times. And it just sucks. There's no other way to put it. No matter who it happens to, but especially obviously when it happens to one of the brightest stars in the game. So best wishes to JuJu Watkins. Also, in the NCAA women's tournament, you had Paige Bueckers. Wanted to give her a quick shout out and share a moment because Paige is, kind of flown under the radar a little bit in a sense, where all of a sudden she's starting to get celebrated for some of what she's done this year with the efficiency numbers. Did you know? And I didn't know this until Rebecca Lobo said it on the broadcast the other day. And then it was shared on the broadcast last night that Paige Bueckers is essentially the only person in basketball history to ever have a 50-40-90 season while also leading an assist to turnover ratio. And every story you hear about Paige is a good one. Every, anecdote you get about Paige is a good one. And there was a little bit of a sweet moment on the podium last night because it was Paige's final home game where Gino Auriemma appeared to get a little emotional about Paige moving on and not playing in front of the home Huskies crowd again.
Questions for Coach? We'll go to Dom on the left.
There you go. I mean, he was totally composed after that moment, but maybe a little bit of emotion getting to Gino Auriemma in that moment right there. And AZ Fudd, though, coming back to UConn, which was an interesting decision. It makes sense considering, one, AZ missed time with that ACL. Now she can be one of the pillars of the program with Sarah Strong next year. She can continue to benefit from NIL, and she can wait till the new CBA is done in the WNBA before she hits on whatever the new rookie pay scale is going to be. But UConn looking like pretty much a juggernaut right now in the NCAA tournament. By the way, you can join my Hoopin Havoc contest. Link is in the description. We're into the second week right now. So if you did enter and you won, you can use those winnings to get into the second week, or you can re-enter. It's just a $10 entry fee to get in. You can win a share of the prizes. First place was $200, I think. Let me show you the leaderboard because I asked everybody to use their sign-ins. We got first place was number one CC fan. Second place was AJ Schreiber. Big AJ. I was in third place. We've got Kayla. Brian Steele bailed me out. Player without a name. Lisa Diaz. Sophia. Malik. and BB4CC. So the top 10, I think, at least got their entry fee back. You can see the rest of the leaderboard. I Won Fantasy did win the Fantasy Football League, but not this contest. But week 2 is now available. So make sure you enter that. Same deal, but obviously picking deeper into the tournament. So check that out. The link is in the description. Let's get as many signups as we can. We can continue to track the leaderboard there as well. So let's get next to one other thing that I wanted to touch on, and that was this backlash, I guess, on Fever national TV games. I don't even know if I want to call it backlash because it's really a few people on social media. But here's the thing that's happened, and I put out a post on X earlier today about this. One thing we got to stop doing collectively is going to find the most fringe, random, hateful nonsense or stupid nonsense or bullshit on social media, sharing it, and then pretending that's the popular opinion, right? Like it happens every day. Somebody does it with something, and then we start discussing that something, and then we act like that's the main thing. And then it winds up on TV because it's good engagement fodder, when really it's just being signal boosted at that point. That happened to the WNBA season so much last year, where the worst things were signal boosted that were not representative of the truth. Like the truth of the WNBA season last year was record ratings, record attendance, all these new fans coming in. It should have been a big celebration and a party. You know, everybody should have been doing this all last year, but instead it was like, rah, 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 because the fringe social media stuff got talked about as if it was the popular opinion. And so often, you know, like when you go into real life, you'll realize so much of the social media nonsense is not actually representative of real life. Like you'll never go to a basketball game. I took my daughter to a Liberty game last year. Caitlin Clark was in town. You never heard anybody going like, I love Caitlin Clark because she's white, you know, like from the crowd, like not real. Right. And same thing happened with some post that blew up yesterday about Caitlin only having success because she's white. Same thing happens with Angel Reese all the time. Fake quotes getting spread out there, which then commandeers the narrative, or one person puts together a low light video. Same thing happens with like people celebrating injuries or something to that effect. Like that is not representative of the mass opinions. And the longer we do that, and the more like the media itself sinks its teeth into it, that, you know, it's just a vicious cycle. And not that this is a serious thing, the Fever being on TV, but I thought it was a decent example of this, you know, narrative being picked up, because this was on First Take today regarding, it was Nafisa Collier regarding the Fever being on national TV so much.
So Caitlin Clark obviously has been a hot button topic on the show and took the WNBA by storm last year. Now her team is going to have 41 of their 44 games nationally televised, while the reigning champs, the Liberty, only have 32. Was this a fair move by the W?
So that's a leading question by Molly there. I'll pause it. I'll continue to play the clip. But it's a leading question for a couple reasons. One, she says only 32 games for the Liberty. That's a lot of games to have on national TV. It's a lot of games to have on national TV, 32. It's more than they had last year, right? Like, so only. And was this a fair move by the W? The W does not decide which games are televised. The media partners, the broadcast partners, want the games that are bringing in more eyeballs. I'll let the clip continue, then I'll finish my thoughts.
I think it's two things. I mean, obviously people want to watch Caitlin play, and so you have to put the people on TV that people want to see. But at the same time, like there's stars all over the league, and you want good basketball as well. Obviously, Indiana, especially like with their free agents, they're gonna be a great team. But to not have the defending champs on TV more, I think it's kind of crazy. I mean, it doesn't have to be where you're taking games away from Indiana, but I think you can raise the level of TV games for the other teams as well.
Why is that an issue? I asked this question respectfully, Nafisa, because I remember in the 80s, for example, when Magic Johnson and Larry Bird took the NBA by storm and they were winning championships, competing for championships. But then this dude named Michael Jordan came along. And Michael Jordan came along and he wasn't yet winning championships, but his popularity was so astronomical that the NBA practically marketed everything they could around this guy. So to know that there's an example like that as a shining example to be followed that could benefit the league, particularly down the road, why is that an issue when we've seen that such a marketing plan has worked in the past?
I don't think it's an issue. I do think Caitlin's a star. And like I said, people want to see her, and we are trying to grow the league. Like, you need to put on TV the players that people want to see. But kind of what I said before, I don't think raising the level of the other teams has to mean bringing down Caitlin or the Indiana Fever. They should have those amount of games on TV on primetime, but I think other teams should also have more than what they have.
So look, Fee's just trying to say the right thing there. But I would cite her as one of the few players that probably could stand more promotion than she's gotten. But at the same time, I would also say, what is the percentage increase of people who know who Nafisa Collier is this year versus last year? You know, it is huge. Same thing goes for Asia Wilson. Same thing goes for so many players and teams, because when you play opposite the Fever, your profile gets raised in those games too. Or when the Sky and the Fever play, they've got two, I think, primetime games on CBS. The first time network has ever carried the WNBA in primetime, I believe, was the way it was framed. You know, those other players, the other players on the team, somebody might go back and learn more about Courtney Vandersloot. Or obviously Kelsey Mitchell is a great example. Like, how much of a bigger star is Kelsey Mitchell this year or last year than she was before? So, number one, the broadcast partners are going to want the games that are going to bring in the most viewers. That's good for everybody in the CBA. And that's good for future pay and all that. It's also good for the players who are involved in those games. And I don't buy the notion that the Liberty, you know, who have 32 nationally televised games, and the Aces, who have 33 nationally televised games, are somehow undersold or anything like that. So I thought that was a leading ass question. Regardless, that's what I got to say on that. It's certainly not really a real controversy or anything like that. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Check out Women's Fast Break on SI, link in the description. Enter my Hoopin Havoc contest. Let's get as many entries as we can before the end of this show. We will track the leaderboard. Like I said, anybody who, you can use your winnings if you did win to just enter again, but you can re-enter. There will be it will reset one more time. So this will be through the Elite Eight, and then there will be another one for the Final Four and the championship before the contest is finished. Now I will get to the comment section, member chats, and of course, super chats get read first as always. What's up, Tulip? What is up, Athena? Thank you, Mike Hall, asking to hit the like, subscribe, all that. We've got a lot of people in this chat. So 99 problems, horrible loss for JuJu. Professor XYZ says, am I wrong for thinking Coach Gottlieb could have prevented this by sitting JuJu in the fourth quarters of blowout wins? Look, again, I mean, it's impossible to say. Could strain on her body have led to overcompensation? Perhaps. I can't, I can't tell you for sure, yes or no. But there's a definition of blame that I like, which is a way to discharge pain and discomfort. And a lot of times when something bad happens, people like to blame something because it makes them feel better. I don't really think there's anyone to blame. Injuries happen. They're a part of sports. Plenty of players have been in games and played a lot of minutes. And, it's the NCAA tournament. JuJu was trying to play through. JuJu was tough as nails too, boy. She was battling through some injuries. Super tough. Got to respect her for that. It happened. I don't know. It's that, like, more I think, like, that was a true bummer. So if anybody out there, JuJu, if some reason you're listening or somebody close to her is listening, everybody's rooting for you. Shane Flanagan says, I have confidence JuJu can return back to normal. Looking at the other female players coming back. Let me see where we're at here. Trying to, again, member chats, super chats, get read first. KDB says, so what does this mean for JuJu? Does she miss a full year? Does she get eligibility? I mean, I guess she could redshirt. I guess. I don't know. I would hope for her sake she's back next year. Look, the average recovery time is 9 months. So that's April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. That puts her back January, February. Maybe there's a chance she's ready for March next year. Maybe there's a chance she's ahead of schedule. I don't want to speculate too much on that. Eric says Sparks need Brinks. Hope she gets some minutes soon. Stern, a.k.a. Chris, says ESPN saw the Olympic ratings without Cece. I don't understand. You mean in reference to the in reference to the national TV games? I mean, that's the other thing about Molly asking that question on ESPN, which is rich, right? ESPN and ABC, or if it was a bad thing, complicit in the Fever getting all those games. Let me go back to the other comment I had on screen right there, because I don't want to shortchange what he was saying either. Cameron Brink talked about her recovery as well. She's still not all the way there. AJ, who was on last week, appreciated his appearance on the show. Rich H says, people think the WNBA has the power like NFL, NBA, MLB to dictate games they're going to buy the rights to. Networks and advertisers in a return on investment, just like the sports leagues are. Well, those leagues don't either. I mean, look, I don't know the exact process, because I'm sure there is collaboration. Don't get me wrong. But it's not the league deciding which games are on TV either. The broadcast networks want their pick of the, like, even in the NFL, where the NFL is the single most popular thing in this country. But would you rather have Chiefs Ravens or Chiefs Bills or I don't know, Jaguars Panthers, right? Like, it's pretty simple in that regard. Eric says, I love Fee, would never know her without Caitlin. Yeah, I think that's a very, very true thing. And Fee should really understand that stuff. She just did start a league. I think she's just, some people, you're just trying to say the right thing too. There's nothing really controversial about what she said. It's nothing to, like, be upset about, really. But you get the point. Katie says, did I see said Colson's press conference today? Not fully yet. I saw some clips floating around. Apparently, she did a 5-minute presser today. Here is some of what she had to say. Let me play it for you now while we're in here. Since somebody brought it up. Get your chats in the meantime.
Been in your impressions of the people and the facilities that now will be home?
I'm super excited about it. I'm going from a team that was a very in the media, like people are excited to watch us and to another team that is arguably the most talked about team in sports right now, especially in women's sports. So this fan base, it's exciting to be a part of a team that has a lot of positive energy around it. I hear and see the things that people say, but I know the true Indiana Fever fans, the ones that love basketball, that they love the WNBA. I'm excited to be playing in front of them and just with this team.
So that was what Sydney Colson had to say. Of course, she becomes a bigger star just by joining the Fever. I will have an Indiana Fever related announcement on Thursday, by the way. So stay tuned for that. But on Thursday, I will have an Indiana Fever related announcement. Get those joins in, likes in, subscribes in. So like and subscribe to the channel, of course. Get your comments in, and then hit up the contest as well below, hosted by Sparkit, so that we can get as many people signed up as possible and as many people on the leaderboard to track as possible as well. Just the $10 entry fee. Let me get back to your comments here. Mike Hall doing the work, trying to get the subscribes up. BTS, this is a good question. Do I think Kiki moves up the draft board if she can dominate after JuJu went down? Possibly. I haven't been blown away by Kiki Iriafen this year, but maybe with more share and opportunity. This is a chance, yeah. Haley Van Lith has probably raised her draft stock, right? Especially when AZ Fudd doesn't go into the draft. And Kiki Iriafen definitely has a chance to raise her stock for sure. The opportunity is in front of her if you're looking for silver linings for anybody else involved. Greg Stewart says Fee is public posturing for the CBA. She has to support the players whenever she speaks, and she needs their votes to approve the CBA. Look, I think Fee is she's trying to say the right thing. I don't, it's what she said. There was nothing, it was not a big deal. Nothing crazy wrong with it or anything. It was a little wishy-washy and meandering, but oh well. She's trying to say the Fever are good and the rest is good. That was basically what she was trying to say. If I could sum up what I think she wouldn't have a problem with my interpretation of, yes, Caitlin Clark and the Fever are good. Also, the rest of the WNBA is good. It was a leading-ass question, to be honest with you. For sure. Chicago Cheetah asks, how far do I think the team can go without JuJu Watkins? Let me look at the bracket. Pulling it up right now. So USC, I think they're in danger against Kansas State. And then if they win that game, I think they're done in the next game. So I think Elite Eight is probably about their... Look, it's not impossible for them to go further than that. But I would say that's about their ceiling. So that's about it. It's because UConn is... I'm impressed by UConn. I love Sarah Strong. I'm a big fan of Sarah Strong. Kevin says, Fee is such a dog. I like the Lynx this year. Well, the Lynx are motivated, right? They're well coached. Kayla McBride is an underrated player. Courtney Williams on that squad as well. I would have Fever, Liberty, Lynx as the top three teams in some order going into this season. You can argue, obviously, the Liberty as the defending champs you could say they should be number one, especially after the Natasha Cloud and Johannes moves. Then you could say, the Lynx are going to be motivated and hungry after perhaps getting screwed. Not even perhaps. I do think they got screwed. And then finally, you got the Fever, who made all these additions and have Caitlin Clark going in to her second season in the WNBA. So lots to be excited about. Lots to be excited about. I mean, we're actually getting there, right? We ain't that far away anymore from the season. Oh, sorry. I meant to put this one up. Who are your final four picks? Who advance? My final four picks are, I'm picking, my original pick was UConn over South Carolina, but my final four picks are UConn, South Carolina, LSU, and Notre Dame. I think those are the four most talented teams. LSU is looking real good. And Michaela Williams, that's another baller right there. She is a smooth hooper. BT says, we are all worried about the Chicago Sky. The WNBA needs a good Sky team. I think the Sky are going to be a little bit better than people think. I do. I mean, the Atkins move and the Vandersloot move, they improved the team. I think the working out the dynamics of Cardoso and Reese is interesting because they're not a perfect match on paper, just because they both like to play in the interior. But, Angel's a good passer. Cardoso's got good hands. We'll see how it works out. Lots of second chance opportunities, perhaps. Regardless, I think they improved the team overall. Charles Anderson says Kiki scored 36 points when JuJu went down. Yeah, well, they're going to play tougher competition too. I mean, that's the thing. The disparity between these teams and their opponents, especially in the early rounds, is quite great. You really don't, business doesn't pick up till the Sweet 16, really almost even the Elite Eight at times. Polar. Let the chat build up here again. Again, member chats, super chats get read first. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Links in the description, Women's Fast Break on SI, as well as the Hoopin Havoc Robin Lundberg contest. Get in there. You got a few days left to enter. This one is, I think there's still 5 days left, but let's get some entries in. If you entered in the first one, go check and see if you won. Again, let me show you the leaderboard one more time. If you missed it before, this was the results of the first part of the contest, because I know there's a lot of people in this chat who were in this contest. If you see your name, hopefully you're not Chef Pig Cooks and you're number one CC fan instead. All right, let me get back to the chat. See where everybody is. Sorry, it's always hard to sort through, and there's so many of y'all in there. 99 Problem says honest conversation is refreshing. That's what I try to facilitate here. So I don't mind pointing that out when people bring it up too, because I think we've done a really good job fostering, what is a honest discourse and respectful and good, mix of fans. Obviously, there are a lot of Clark and Fever fans in here, but there's fans of other WNBA teams, South Carolina fans. I see them, Sky fans, Angel fans. There's always a couple Angel fans in here every day. But let me know anything else you guys want to touch on. Figured it was worth firing up a live. Farrell, speaking of South Carolina fans, SEC championship battle in Tampa between South Carolina versus LSU. I like LSU. I like LSU a lot. I think LSU is a sleeper to win the whole thing. For sure. You know, they got Flau'jae and Michaela Williams. And on top of that, Nisa Morrow, an experienced coach. RC in basketball says, Robin, what are your thoughts on Aaliyah Chavez choosing Oklahoma to play college basketball? It shocked me a bit, but I'm absolutely cool with it. Look, I think the more programs can elevate, you know, Oklahoma's a 3 seed this year. And it's not just Connecticut or South Carolina landing every prospect, the better it can be. I mean, look what it did to have, what you had with Clark in Iowa was its own thing, but that helped draw in more viewers and the more teams that are relevant, some of these bigger, maybe football programs and stuff like that, it's only going to help. It's only going to help with the growth. And the way that the women's game is set up, where players their stories can sort of be told over a period of time and they can develop in front of the fans, is a real benefit and boon for the game. That's one of the reasons for the way that Clark even happened, is because it did happen over a period of time. Like it was a big thing, but people also followed her. And then when, after the Reese thing, they go back the next year and they watch her. And JuJu too. I mean, like, even what happened to JuJu, again, as much as it sucks, right? We're going to be able to go and follow her story, whatever happens, whether she redshirts next season, makes it back next season, whatever the case may be. People are going to follow and root for her story until she gets into the WNBA. Same with Paige. People have followed Paige's story. That's why they feel an attachment. That's why they get choked up when they see Gino. That's something that is completely missing from the men's game. Bobby U says, Robin, your patience with those who disagree with you is probably the primary reason why, despite our different opinions and even worldviews, we subscribers can have rational discourse. Thank you. That's a real high compliment. I mean it. Like, I appreciate that. Because you get the trolls and the nonsense and stuff, but obviously, that's my intention. And if I'm being real with you, it can be exhausting wading through the BS sometimes. And you have to be selective about what, you think is worth covering and not worth covering and all that. And this particular space, considering I've done sports talk, my whole adult life and really professional career, is a whole different terrain to navigate. But I have done my best, and it's very rewarding to see so many of you come in here and have, weigh in and follow everything I say. Well, the cut is fresh, BT. Finally? Eric says it's always a good chat. Let me see. Again, member chats, super chats will get read first. So if I missed you and you want to, we got to do a members only event here soon too. Where is F1 guy? I should text him. I mean, he got his shout out for, I think he works in the afternoon. Meanwhile, I got kids' practices and stuff to get to. So it oftentimes works well for me to, hop on in the afternoon. But 12H says the Carolina Panthers should have more games aired than the Eagles. Make it make sense. I mean, how often are the Cowboys talked about, right? Or the Lakers, and or that's just the way it works. Tulip plays. Where's Raj the GOAT? Hey Raj, somebody in the chat is asking for you. You want to come say hello? Says, where's Raj the GOAT? Say, what's up?
Hi.
Come on, come talk confidently with your broadcaster voice.
Okay.
What are you doing right now?
Playing video,
Talking to the mic.
Playing video game.
What video game are you
The
playing?
new wrestling game.
Which is called what?
WWE 2K25.
There you go. And what's your channel? Is that your channel?
No.
What? That's not your channel right there, right?
Don't watch talks.
It is. Or is it talk without
Yeah.
the S? Okay, close enough. Raj-talk. Appreciate the shout out. Tulip, would you like to say anything to the chat?
No, you.
No, ye? All right. That's awesome that you guys shout out the fam and everything too. You should have seen, you're good, Tulip. Appreciate the plug. Ronnie, my daughter, is at dance right now. But she's a superstar herself. She's got billboards in Times Square. And then you should have seen Big Ro the other night. My youngest, at 2:00 in the morning, he's down here in the basement because I was still up. And I don't know what happened. He came downstairs and he grabs all the wrestling toys and he's like, Daddy, I need your phone for their music. So it's like, gets me in my heart when he makes me play all the wrestlers' entrance musics to bring out his toys. I don't know why he was up at 2 a.m. doing it, but nonetheless, he was. That is, that was the deal. Raj wants to start a wrestling channel with me. So that might be coming in the near future. But back to the topic at hand. Crank That 22 says, with Sid finally in Indy, the excitement starting to get bigger. Let me see if I can find more Sydney Colson content for you. Since she did just speak, she saw her jersey yesterday for the first time. I played the bit about her joining the Fever. This is what she had to say about Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA last year. This from Sydney Colson, Caitlin Clark's new backup, really.
What was it like to watch what Caitlin did for this franchise from afar? Different perspective.
Yeah, no, it was nuts. There's no other way to say it. It was nuts. I think, you're seeing a team that's now like affecting the economy in the city. You got people coming from out of town, out of state, out of the country, maybe even to see games. And so that's special.
You've been studying.
Huh?
You've been studying those studies.
Yeah, man, I try to pay attention, but no, it's been cool to see. Caitlin's a remarkable player. She's going to be good here for a long time, so I know people are excited about it.
And that is one of the reasons, or the biggest reason, that they have all those national TV games. For anyone who may have been wondering why. A lot of people in here today, as always. I mean, it's amazing. I could do it. That's one of the coolest things. I could just fire it up at any time. And we got people in here. But, all right, that's about it for me, guys. Any final chats or whatnot, get them in. Join the contest. Link in the description. Check out Women's Fast Break on SI. As always, the latest basketball news. Have a related announcement about the Fever coming in a couple days. So all of those things are great. Best wishes to JuJu Watkins. Like I said, get those likes, get those subscribes, all that in. And I'll give you about 2 more minutes for any final comments, questions. Pete P says move the All-Star game to Lucas Oil Stadium. Probably a good idea at this juncture. Definitely. Do we have a troll here? Look, we got a troll, guys. In no sport does losers get more shine than winners. The favoritism is obvious. Just admit it. It's sad. I don't even know what you're talking about, bro. Like, sorry. It ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. Oh, did somebody bring up? Yeah, here. The Liberty Fever games at Barclays Center need to be moved to Madison Square Garden. The capacity is not in the reason, but to play in the mecca of basketball, the world's greatest arena. That will never happen. Just let you know there is zero chance of that happening. If you're wondering why, it's because the New York Liberty used to be owned by MSG and James Dolan. They are not owned by MSG and James Dolan. He offloaded the Liberty. Joe Tsai, who owns the Brooklyn Nets, got the Liberty. That's why the Liberty play in Barclays Center, where the Brooklyn Nets play. By the way, they have a great fan base there. They have a great home arena. Liberty games are super fun to go to. They support them. Barclays Center is also a great arena, and I love MSG too. But when Caitlin Clark comes to New York City, she's playing in Barclays, not in MSG, and that is the reason why. There is zero chance Joe Tsai is just letting that happen for James Dolan. Denise Hansen says, thanks for all you do. Glad I could make the live. Thank you for joining the live. That's a good note to end on, y'all. Appreciate it as always. I already did all the plugs and the points and the thumbs, so you can figure that out yourself from this point forward. Until the next one. Eat.